So this is going to be my 2-week review of this truck now, and thanks to everyone for subscribing. I'm getting a lot of comments on what people want to see. One of the things they want to see is some navigation and how that looks on the dash screen versus the big screen. So I'm still learning the truck after 2 weeks, and I haven't used the navigation too much. There's a few ways you can use the navigation. One is to use a sync navigation that's built into the truck. And if you have a Apple or Android phone, the Apple CarPlay maps work. I've used both. The other way is Waze, and I haven't explored that too much. Seems like the one time I did try it, it was having a hard time connecting to Waze, so I'd like to figure that out and see what it looks like with the Waze navigation. So there's a lot of options as far as navigation goes. One of the comments was, how does it look on the center on your dash screen versus the big screen? And I think that's a great comment, because a lot of times you're not wanting to look at that big center screen while you're driving. It's a lot easier just to glance down at your dash. The other thing I noticed, one of the problems or issues with configuring this dash screen is the boost gauge. One of my other videos, I show you how to get the boost gauge up on the center dash, and it was holding my settings for 5 or 6 days, and I noticed it reset it. So I'm not sure if when it's doing a software update it's resetting these views, but sometimes it keeps that gauge for days, and I'm driving the vehicle and it's keeping my menu saved, and it's keeping the configured MyView. If you look on the right side, you can scroll through how you set up your view and what you want to see there. So I'm not sure why it doesn't hold that setting. I think it has something to do with software updates, because sometimes it resets every other day, other times it saves it for 5 or 6 days. So there's not been any consistency as far as how it saves those gauges. Otherwise, the truck's been great. I haven't had any issues, and we're gonna go through and do a video here, and I'll show you how the navigation works. Once you get into the main menu here, another thing is you can get at a lot of this stuff by using voice commands too. I haven't explored it too much, but it does work good for directions. Like you can tell it you want to go to Rural King or Home Depot or wherever, and it's gonna find Home Depot and then pop up on the screen the directions to get there. The other thing is, and I haven't gone over this yet, but I had a request to go over some of the lane keeping assist and some of the adaptive cruise control stuff. I'd like to do a video on that also, because I have some opinions and comments on how the lane keeping works. It can be pretty amazing at times. There's a few things I've figured out with it, as far as when it pops up messages as far as keeping hands on the wheel when you're driving. My hands might be on the wheel, but it's telling me to put them on the wheel, and I think one thing it wants to see there is some input from the driver. If you've got your hands on the wheel and you're going down the road and you're not giving it any input, you're just letting it drive itself pretty much, it's gonna pop up that like keep hands on the wheel. So I don't know if there's a sensor on the steering wheel. I think it's more based on input on the steering wheel. So if you're not doing much with the steering wheel, it's going to tell you, keep your hands on the wheel. And if you give it a little bit of input or tug on the wheel, that message is going to go away. So there's some little things with the adaptive cruise control. I don't not so much the adaptive cruise control, but the lane keeping assist with that. You know, it's all right. I don't use it all the time, and I think that it's a great thing when you're on the highway on 2-lane roads. The lane keeping assist, to me, you know, I mean, it's not perfect. It seems like it wants to keep me too close to the center line, and maybe I drive close to the shoulder. I think most people do on 2-lane roads. They stay away from that center line, but maybe the system's just looking for an input. But I do notice that it's not always keeping me directly where I want to be in the lane. So I don't use it all the time. I'm still getting used to the lane keeping assist, but it will steer you around corners. It'll give you that input. But enough about that. I'd like to just kind of show you here how the navigation works. So you could tell it where you want to go here. And another thing I noticed is if you turn lane keeping assist off, it's going to change your dash. When you're in the main menu here, if you go down to navigation, it's going to give you some options here, you know, that you can click on, and all this is from the right side of the steering wheel. You just scroll through. So all the menu stuff's on the right side of the steering wheel. All the cruise control and your volumes on the left side of the steering wheel. So cancel navigation. So maybe it doesn't want to listen to me right now. I put a spot in for it to go here. Let's just go into gear here and see what happens.